Good evening, everybody. We are live here on Twitch for AFX, our new experimental league at Adelaide in Australia with the AFX version of the MX5 modified by our very own Assetto Friends mod team. Not much has been done to this car. It still drives and mostly acts like your regular MX5 Cup car, but it's been converted to be sequentially shifted to make it more accessible to drivers that don't have an H pattern shifter. We're going to hop right into qualifying as we get underway. See who will be the first out of the pits. Pull up some live timing here, and we will be on board with these drivers as they do their out laps. Looking for some really competitive racing out of this league. The MX5 being the beginner car that it is, really great for driving and close racing. And we are already having drivers collide with each other all over the place on the out lap here. Don't know why they're racing so hard with each other. Give some room to the guy in front of you. Who is Millard Merck? Honestly, never heard that name in my life. No, Eppley, I don't think I will. But based off the stream, it looks like we're having a lot better quality than we did last night, where we watched the AF3 race in PowerPoint mode. That was a lot of fun. You know, I don't think the slipstream is going to be that big of a deal. G750, the Adelaide Street Circuit, I believe, is about 4 kilometers, just under 4, 3.7-ish kilometers. We'll be racing the version of this track from 2016 without the chicane in it. The mod we're using had a pretty nasty bug with the chicane, where if you touch the wall for the chicane, you got stuck in it. Yeah, we're dropping some frames, but that's still a heck of a lot better than all of the frames. Probably doesn't help that it's 30 degrees in my living room. Everything's just struggling. As we watch two drivers, Barcar and Nasty Bruises, send it into the wall in the chicane. Polly getting a nice little toe off of Miguel Costa there in the Polaris Motorsports MX5. Spent a lot of work on that skin. He did several hours, was actually late on the skin deadline, and it looks like Miguel Costa has turned it around in the last corner. Well, that was odd. Saw Ali go through a couple walls there off in the distance and then teleport back. Looks like he's having some network latency issues. Moving into Sector 3 now for Ali Yardimjer. Really looking to improve on his P10 time. Said he didn't practice too much, but him practicing not too much is still probably 200 laps. Looks like he is improving on his time, finding 3/10 in the first sector and almost 2/10 in the second. So he makes the run down to the line, and he will cross with a 1:32.2 to put him P5 provisionally. Go on board with our provisional pole sitter. See how he's doing. He is on a out lap. Let's see. Little Miata is currently on a flying lap. So he comes down this long straight on the back of this track. Tight line through the hairpin there. Moving into Sector 3 now. One corner left. Looks like he is about even with his best time. Maybe he can find something here to take that provisional pole off of Daniel Wolf, who's right behind him, it looks like. And he does not improve. Will stay P2. Go on with Fulinix now, who's going into... I should really know these corner names. As we are making the run down the Jones Straight into Brewery Corner, and now onto the Brabham Straight with the run down to the hairpin. Turn 16, final corner, run down to the line. He's looking to improve, maybe put his car on the front row. And he does improve to provisional pole. He is now 1/10, almost 2/10 ahead of Daniel Wolf for provisional pole. Daniel Wolf is making his run to the line. He's now P3 behind Fulinix and Lil Miata, and he will stay P3 at this point, as he did not improve on his time. Looks like Ali Yardimjer has just started a flying lap. That's what he's going to want to be seen on stream right there. Putting it into the dirt. Looks like the track limits on this track are very loose. Go back to Daniel Wolf's teammate. He's just finishing his out lap now, so we'll go on a flying lap with him as he looks to put Maka Team Racing, Maka Wolf Team Racing as they are wanting to call it, back on the front row. He's going to start his flying lap now. Good driver etiquette there from the Portugal Football Club cars, not coming out of the pits and putting that damper on somebody's flying lap. Oof. And that will abruptly end that attempt to put Wolf Team Racing back on the front row. Although as it stands right now, Daniel Wolf is looking to stay on the front row with Fulinix having connection issues, it appears. Hopefully he gets back in here before we start this race so that Daniel Wolf has to earn that front row. This is Adelaide. Yes, F1 did race here back in like the 80s, maybe in the early 90s. Yeah, that I was getting ready to say. That was the last time we raced here as a community, was for a weekly with the Williams from like 1997 or something like that. It was a fun little race. Daniel Wolf does not improve, will stay P3. Lil Miata making a run at a flying lap now, trying to take that provisional pole off of Fulinix. It probably was everybody's first weekly. It was my first weekly. It was a lot of fun. We should do that again. Maybe make that one of the weekly hot lap challenges. And Lil Miata will not improve on his lap time as he spins it in the hairpin. Beso Freak coming through the hairpin now, currently sitting P8. Sure, he would like to improve on that, maybe get into the top 5. Would have to find about 4/10 to crack into that top 5. And after his Portugal football team did not do so well against Germany tonight, I'm sure he would love to represent that team a little better than they did themselves. He does find that 4/10, puts himself into the top 5, provisionally will start P5 as Daniel Wolf goes on to provisional pole with a 131.3. Fulinix now needs to find nearly 2/10 to take that pole time off of him. It was a different version. It was the 1988 version of the track. A lot bumpier. Older sponsors. According to that little sector timer, Fulinix has found a little bit, not enough to take that provisional pull off of Daniel Wolf. Looks like he's found a little bit more. He might be on pace here to take that pole time off Daniel Wolf as he makes his run to the line. 131.4 will not take over the provisional pole, but does get himself within 400ths of that pole time. Representing the reserves really well here would be a shocker for one of the non-main drivers to get the pole today. And there seems to be a pile up here on the exit of that turn going onto the Jones straightaway, and Fulinix is content staying P2. He will not get another flying lap in with only 15 seconds left in this qualifying session. So Base O Freak is currently the best driver to make an attempt to take that pole time off of Daniel Wolf. He is still on a flying lap. Polybius finishes his last flying lap and will stay 8/10 down in P7. That focus effect is great. So we make the run down to the hairpin. He's got a slower car in front of him. He's not going to want to hold up for that, so hopefully Mario Fonseca can keep it clean and doesn't hinder this lap at all. Nice tidy line through turn 14. Turn 16 last corner. Fonseca gets a little bit of the inside curb, doesn't hurt him too much. And Base Freak will make the run down to the line. Improves slightly on his time. Will go P4, pushing Charles Bertrand down to P5 in the Maka racing car. And that will close out the qualifying. Daniel Wolf, you are the provisional pole sitter. You're no longer the provisional pole sitter. You are the pole position sitter for the first race of AFX in the MX5 season. I think he has a different skin than his team. They do. Yes, follow us on YouTube. Go like, comment, and subscribe on our videos at YouTube, Assetto Friends. Too lazy to put it on both sides. Nice little skin for your fantastic racing. Believe this was done by Mosquito. Good old Kuno skin. Big little Miata's teammate. Polly with his Calsonic themed skin on the Polaris Motorsports car. Perlage putting together a quite aesthetically pleasing skin, if I did say. Ian McDonald in the Fat Sim racing car. Not too often you see a team sponsored by multiple watch brands, Casio and Tag Heuer being the two on that car. Yeah, I don't know about that Barcore guy. Let's look at his time and see where he did. 2 minutes 20.9. Surely he is going to want to improve on that in the race. We have drivers sitting here talking about whether or not how to do their pit strategy. A pit stop will be required in this league for all races. Mandatory pit stop in effect. Have to take 1 liter of fuel or change the tires or any combination of that variety. We go to the front of the grid, nearly side by side, if not directly side by side. Looks like there's no difference in the P1, P2 sides here. Have Folinix on pole, even though he's actually P2. Daniel Wolf, second row below Miata and Beso Freak. Charles Bertrand and Vivols. Ali Yardimja and Denny K 2000. Ian McDonald and Miguel Costa. Mixtrol and Mario Fonseca. Ondacho and Nasty Bruises. Rail Driver and Mosquito. Vessel Varudin and Barcor. And that will round it out. And a jump start, it looks like, for Barcor. He is not going to be pleased with that. As we go back to the pits, and we will go through T1. Looks like it's mostly clean through T1. It is. Already doing better than AF3 last night. That is a relief. And we will go back to the front of the grid. Oh, and now we have an incident. Several drivers missing that turn. And we may be under a virtual safety car. Looks like we are. These drivers are getting in that nice single file line. Hopefully this doesn't last too long and we can get back to racing shortly. Daniel Wolf dropping 2 places in that incident where he hit the outside wall. Ali Yardimger down in the P9. He was pretty much stopped on the same wall. As Folinix dives into the pit lane. See if this is a drive-through he's serving, or if he's taking his mandatory pit stop early under the VSC. He is taking his mandatory pit stop under that VSC. These drivers are back racing. Tell you what, that's probably a smart strategy decision to take that now, as he'll be able to catch back up to this field in the event of a second safety car. And there very well may be one. This is a tight street circuit. As we head on to the Jones straightaway with the run down to Brewery Corner. I believe we may be under VSC again. These drivers are not really battling with each other. I believe that is the case. Doing about 120 kilometers down the straight doesn't sound right. As more drivers, almost the entire field now, is going to dive into that pit lane. Daniel Wolf will stay out. Not ready to take his mandatory pit stop yet. And that will move him into P1. Rail Driver will be P2. Lil Miata is now P3. Vessel Varudin P4 and Folinix P5. Looks like that early pit stop for Felix really helped him out. I believe at least two of the other drivers in front of him still have to do their mandatory pit stop. He'll be right back up at the front where he wants to be. As Mosquito is rounding it out now, he will be trying desperately to catch up to that field before we go green again. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it onto the back of the field. Hopefully we go back to green flag racing here at the end of this lap. See if anybody dives into the pits this time. Does not look like it. You know, after seeing this lap, I'm not quite convinced we were under a virtual safety car last lap. Or if we are, this is the longest virtual safety car that Assetto Friends has ever had. Not much going on here. Just a lot of clean driving. See what the lap times are coming around. Last lap was a 1:58. This lap will be 1:52 as compared to the 1:30s we were doing in qualifying. As we have a massive shunt coming out of the center chicane, this is most certainly going to put us back under a safety car. There are cars everywhere. Finally, something exciting happening. As we're now a third of the way through this 30-minute race. Spending a good chunk of it under the safety car. At least I'm assuming we're under the safety car. That being said, our leader, Felix, is doing almost 150k through some of these parts of the track. As the entire field now bunches up going into the hairpin. Looks like Mario Fonseca is trying to do an overtake on Daniel Wolf there. Don't know if that's quite legal. as we go rushing through the center chicane again, and Rail Driver decides to take a variation of the line through the center chicane, to say the least. But Driver's making it through there just fine this time. Zendacho puts Denny K2000 into the wall, and he's stuck. Denny K has freed himself from the wall, so he will not get teleported back to the pits there. As Phoenix is now making himself a nice gap off the front. 1.4 seconds to Lil Miata. As Miguel Costa comes around Brewery Corner, and two cars in the background collide with each other. That is Mixtrol and Ian McDonald colliding at Brewery Corner. And Charles Bertrand is having a move put on him by Miguel Costa in the Portugal Football Club car. Well, that's the best move by the Portugal Football Club all day. Oh no, he hits the inside curb, spins it around, and he will lose a bunch, as it will be impossible to rejoin with the field coming around this corner. He will fall all the way to the back of the field. Ali Yardimja into P3 at the front of this field, trying to close the gap down to Lil Miata and Phoenix. But I'm sure he will be more than content with being on the podium in this race. He stretched himself a 2-second gap to Charles Bertrand behind him. Daniel Wolf put in a move on Dacho for a position. He rounds out the top 5. And Ondacho is in the wall, losing 4 positions so far. Very well could lose more. Follow our leader through Sector 3. Only 2 real corners in this sector, 15 and 16, the last 2. He'll make the run down the straight to the center chicane to finish this lap out. As we near the halfway point of the race, Phoenix is P1. Fastest lap going to Lil Miata with a 1:32.0. That fastest lap is really close between Miata and Phoenix. Phoenix did a 1:32.05 and Miata did a 1:32.01. So those two will be battling it out for that last point. Both of them missed out on the bonus point for starting from pole. That went to Daniel Wolf, who now sits P5. As Polybius takes a rather wide line through the corner onto the Jones straight, going over that sausage curb, really unsettling the car. But he keeps it nice and tight through Brewery Corner. No oversteer there. As our 2 leaders go through the hairpin. And Lil Miata is catching up a little bit. He's got that gap under a second now to about 9/10. Field's really stretching out now. Our leaders coming onto the front straight, and the back of the field just now starting to go onto the Jones straight at turn 5. And Lil Miata sets another fastest lap this time around, 1:31.4, clearing the fastest lap set by Phoenix just in front of him at 1:31.8. So he took another 4/10 out of Phoenix's lead in that lap alone. Surely he will like to keep that kind of driving up. Checking with our midfield battle here. Daniel Wolf, nothing going on with him. Chasing down his teammate, who's chasing down Polybius for the final spot on that podium. Sure, Maka Wolf Racing would love to get on the podium in their debut. As we will check out this battle for P9 between Beso Freak and Undacho, as they're sprinting down the Jones Straight towards Brewery Corner. Beso Freak will get full use of the slipstream behind Undacho. Coming through Brewery Corner. Both drivers keeping it clean through there. And it looks like Beso Freak is going to send an inside move. Nope, he is not going to send the inside move into the hairpin. Probably a wise decision there. As it looks like these two drivers are content trying to get up to P8 and make this a three-way battle for P8 with nasty bruises. Pholinix last time by set a personal best lap 1:31.6, still 0.13 seconds behind Lil Miata for the fastest lap of this race. Only other driver really in contention for the fastest lap at this point is Daniel Wolf. He's the third driver in the 131s with a 131.8. Sure, he would love to pick up both bonus points for starting on pole and having fastest lap. We'll check in with our leaders as they are coming through the Brewery Corner and making the run down to the hairpin. Still 6/10 back. Not a lot of headway is being made into that lead. Lil Miata probably waiting to capitalize on any kind of mistake, and it looks like we have a nasty collision between Nasty Bruise's Mixed Stroll, Barcore, who's way off the track, some of the drivers complaining about lag with one of our other drivers who's currently sitting on the podium. Would hate for him to have a Turkish fiber moment and lose his podium due to network issues. Although I don't know why the other driver is complaining too much about that. He's more than a second behind Polybius. Any kind of lag Polybius is having is not having any effect on any other driver right now. He's not fighting with anybody. Go back on board with Lil Miata. He's still trying to chase Pholinix down as they go on to the Jones Straight. Still no move being made. Denny K and Undacho swapping positions repeatedly as we got some side-by-side racing. Denny K completes an overtake there, but Undacho trying to do some kind of switchback on him. Does not look like it's going to happen. Maybe sending it up the inside here. Ooh, Undacho gets a better line out of that corner. See if he can capitalize on Denny K getting up on that curve. That surely slowed him down and will cost him top speed on this straight. This is a very long section of road here. And Denny K will not make it through the Brewery Corner. He will lose 4 positions in the process. His teammate Mario Fonseca is also running him down, but he will get to the hairpin in the braking zone there, will save him from losing another position. We'll go back to our battle at the front. Same running order: Pholinix, followed by Miata, Ali Yadinger, Bertrand, Vivols, and Daniel Wolf. Looks like Vivols and Daniel Wolf have actually switched positions there. I think Daniel Wolf's last lap time was a 150 something. He might have finally done his pit stop. It was. He did a 150 on the last lap. Surely that had to have been his pit stop lap. And that is why he lost out on a position to Vivols. Probably wishing he had pit earlier under the safety car before this field got spread out and really stabilized. Only a couple groups with enough cars currently in it to cause a safety car. Most likely scenario for that would be a lapped traffic getting in the way of one of our leaders and maybe causing some kind of incident. We just crossed the 10 minutes left in this race. There will not be an extra lap in this race. When the clock hits 0, that is the final lap. When the leader crosses the line, the race will be over. With as close as Lil Miata is to Fulinix, we likely will not see any strategy calls where Fulinix tries to slow down to not have to do an extra lap. He will surely have to keep pushing through the end of this race with how close those two are. But beyond them, there's not much going on for a battle for the lead. The gap between Miata and Ali Yardimger is nearly 10 seconds now. And Polybius is in the wall. Ali Yardimger is in the wall. Charles Bertrand will capitalize on that mistake, moving him into the podium positions. So now we have a new podium sitter here, Charles Bertrand. He looks to keep this that overtake completed. Right now there is a lapped car between him and Polybius for that P3 position, so he's got a little bit of safety there, and lap traffic courteously gets out of the way of Polybius in the Polaris Motorsports car. And we have another issue with Denny K at Brewery Corner again. He seems to be struggling mighty with that corner. And Polybius puts it back in the wall again. That will help Charles Bertrand keep his lead. And our leader is coming up on some lapped traffic now. Looks like he has cleared that car. And Lil Miata will also be trying to clear that car. That car is Rail Driver. He said he'd be happy if he didn't qualify last before the race, and well, he should be pretty happy because he did not qualify last. And if Denny K keeps having the problems he's having at Brewery Corner, Rail Driver might be able to snag himself a points position here in the closing minutes of this race. Check on Charles Bertrand as he's trying to keep it clean, keep Maka Wolf Racing in the podium. Sure, that'll keep the two team owners of that team, the owners of Maka and Daniel Wolf of Wolf Racing, very happy to have a driver on the podium. And that Calsonic Polaris Motorsports car is looking beat up. Clearly he has been into the wall multiple times and is just hoping to finish this race. And Mario Fonseca has an issue, losing out on a position to nasty bruises. Daniel Wolf trying to chase down the fantastic racing car V-Bulls. trying to get back inside the top 5. Top 5 as it stands now is Phoenix, who's crossing the line, followed by Lil Miata, Charles Bertrand, Ali Yardinger, and Vivols close out the top 5. Looks like as it stands now, Phoenix will lead the Drivers' Championship after this race, and Maka Wolf Racing will be leading the Teams Championship after the first round of this race, as they have both of their drivers in the top 5 now, as there was an issue with Vivols falling from 5 to 8th on track. Beso Freak and Ian McDonald also capitalizing on his mistake. Check in on the fastest lap battle, and currently the fastest lap is still held by Lil Miata with a 131.1. Phoenix is close with a 131.3, and Daniel Wolf still trying to get down there, 131.7. Or sorry, correction, 131.5. Trying to get both of the bonus points for Maka Wolf Racing there. Surely he would have liked to stay on the podium there, starting from the pole. But he's had a great recovery drive since his lap 2 incident that cost him his lead in this race. Phoenix just trying to keep it clean through the last 3 minutes of this race. Probably going to be about 3 more laps here. To round this out, and he will be looking to keep it clean, stay in front of Lil Miata, and win this race. "20-second gap now between P2 and P3, and then an additional 10 seconds between 3 and 4. Not as close as I expected it to be. I think these drivers are really struggling with grip out there in the closing stages of this race. And so we're making the run down to turn 16 and onto the front straight. We will have 2 more laps in this race now. Phoenix doing a 131.4 that lap to a 131.3 of Lil Miata. Still trying to keep this fight interesting. The lap before that, Phoenix did a 131.0, making him the fastest lap holder in this race, and will give him the bonus point on top of the win. As it stands now, we will have a reserve driver leading the Drivers' Championship after the first race, and maybe one of our teams will try to pick him up as a main driver. There's a couple teams that so there is a main driver without a team that would, I'm sure, love to have the race 1 winner on his team. Maybe boost his team's points a little bit in the as this championship goes on. Keeping it nice and tidy through turn 13 there. Both drivers clearing a lapped car cleanly, and that was Denny K 2000. Denny K actually getting loose there behind Lil Miata. Luckily, he was already cleared by Lil Miata, and that did not cause any issue between this rather stretched out now battle for the lead, getting the 2 seconds. Does not look like we will have any issues as we enter the final 30 seconds of this race. This is the final lap. I would ban the bot if I could ban the bot, but I don't know how. As now Fulinix goes onto the Jones straight for the last time, making his run down to Brewery Corner and then onto the Brabham straight. And through the hairpin for the last time, just trying to keep it nice and tidy. And we will go on board with him as he looks to win the first race in Assetto Friends AFX League Season 1. The winner at Adelaide after 30 minutes will provisionally be Fulinix. I don't know if he's going to have any reported issues in this race, but he drove a spectacular race. Lil Miata will finish P2. We go on board with our final podium sitter. It will be Charles Bertrand of Maka Wolf Racing as he comes through turn 16 now onto the front straight to close out the podium. And he closes out the podium P3. Ollie Yardimger finishes P4. And Daniel Wolf will round out your top 5. Beso Freak and Ian McDonald for 6 and 7. Eventually, our top 10 will be set. Vivals and Andacho 9 and 8 respectively. And Nasty Bruises rounds out the top 10, followed by Mario Fonseca, Mixtrol, Denny K2000, Miguel Costa, and Rail Driver may have finished 15th. Somebody might have left the server before that, so he might actually be 16th. But that was a good race for AFX Season 1. This is our experimental league. For this season, this league will change to different ideas every season. This season we're doing this sequential shifted MX5 Cup car on street circuits. Our schedule actually looks pretty good for this league. Make sure you guys check it out in the Discord. Our next race will be next Saturday night, same time. Montjuic is the street circuit we will be running. Same format, 30-minute race with 1 mandatory pit stop.
The whole death thing happened.
Good evening, AFX
Good evening,
drivers. That was a moderately exciting round 1 race.
Moderately exciting. Shut the hell up.
Okay, fine. I'll be honest. There were periods of time in there where I had trouble finding things to talk about.
There you go.
I mean,
And then Polybius put it in the wall, taking himself off the podium.
Yes, I did. Of course I did.
What happened there?
He binned
I
it.
don't know, because I braked normally and then I just went into the wall straight away.
Well, I'm sure that the 2 drivers at Maka Wolf Racing really enjoyed that mistake by you, as it put Charles Bertrand on the podium for Maka Wolf Racing They also picked up the bonus point for qualifying pole position.
I have 20 total laps of practice. I'm fine.
And the fastest lap in that race goes to Pholinix with a 1:31.0.
Christ.
That's fucking quick.
Man is
now you can see at the AFX chat where I got punted.
I need to watch the thing first.
Just look.
I was watching it and it was so close and then demise.
Man, I died 20 meters before the racing line. And I was in the points.
Oh, we cannot score points.
I was about to score points, but I got punted 20 meters before the racing line.
Upon him.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I was wondering what happened there. I saw you finish P16. Rail driver capitalizing on that punt.
I didn't punt him.
I'm not saying you did punt him. I'm just you did get to capitalize on that.
We banged wheels and physics took over.
That wasn't like a
You
reasonable
were
explanation.
kind of going to the left, like you went
defending my
after the
position.
apex, you were going straight. Yeah, but you know, we were side to side, and then you just hit me like on the radar. You can see like you turning and me being straight.
We can review it later. Don't worry.
Yeah,
I moved to defend my position, and I stand by that. If I get penalized, then so be it.
And there you have it, everybody. Looks like we
No
will
more.
have some
If
drama
we
to
need to
settle
review it-
on Monday.
Because somebody, I don't know, maybe I was like 17 on the statistics, but I should be like P16. So yeah, because I wasn't overtook. So yeah.
And with that bombshell of drama, I'm going to end the stream there.
Yep, so in any case, very good race, guys.
Thank you for watching, and
start
we will
was
see
chaos.
you. I
that's
don't know if
also
we
great.
have anything
Yeah,
tomorrow.
and the other two.
We do not have any racing
Yeah,
going on
every
tomorrow. So our
start
next
they just
stream
praying for
will
nothing to happen.
I mean,
be
the last restart.
the steward stream on Monday evening, where we will settle all of our incidents from this weekend from AF3 at where did we race? We raced at Mossport in Canada for AF3. There were a plethora of incidents reported from that. My last count, I believe, was about 31 incidents from those two races. The AF4 League raced just before this at Red Bull Ring National, and I'm sure we'll have a few incidents from that in their Skoda Octavia car. And then we will be settling the incidents that are surely going to be reported for AFX. Thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to having you on our steward stream.